I don't know what it is about the Appalachian Mountains, but people who've spent time out there will tell you the same thing. It's not just the isolation. It's not just the silence. There's something else about those woods that feels off, like you're not really alone, even when you should be. Anyway, these are 3 stories I came across recently. And honestly, I couldn't really explain any of them.
So this first one is from a guy named Ethan. He'd been hiking for years, so this wasn't his first time camping out in the Appalachians or anything. He actually preferred going alone, said it helped him clear his head. This happened sometime in early winter, not heavy snow yet, but cold enough that most people weren't out there anymore. He parked near this old trailhead he'd used before. He said the first weird thing was there were no other cars at all, which isn't that unusual, but still, usually there's at least 1 or 2. He hikes in for about an hour, finds a decent clearing, sets up his tent, starts a small fire, normal stuff. At this point, everything feels fine, but he said after it got dark, the silence started to feel different. Not peaceful, just empty, like there should be sound, but there isn't. No bugs, no birds, nothing. And then he hears a whistle. At first, he ignores it, thinks it's just wind or something moving through the trees. But then it happens again. Same exact sound, same length, almost like someone repeating it on purpose. So now he's paying attention. He steps away from the fire a bit and just listens. And yeah, it happens again. This time it's a little closer. He actually calls out just like, "Hey, anyone out there?" But no one answers. And that's when he remembers something a guy told him earlier that day at a gas station. Apparently, it's kind of known thing in some areas. If you hear whistling in the woods at night, you're not supposed to respond to it. He didn't really believe that at the time, but standing there in total silence, hearing that sound come from the trees, it started to feel different. So he just backs off and goes toward his tent. And right as he turns around, he hears the whistle again. Except this time it's right behind him. Like close. Way too close. He spins around, shines his flashlight everywhere. But there's nothing there. No movement, no person, nothing. At this point, he's not trying to figure out anymore. He just gets into his tent and zips it up. And then it gets worse. A few minutes later, he hears footsteps in the snow. Slow, steady, just walking around his tent. Not running, not sneaking, just circling. He said it went on for a long time. Like whoever or whatever it wasn't in a hurry. Then it stops right outside. And after a few seconds, he hears a voice. And this is the part that really messed him up. It sounded exactly like him. Same voice, same tone. And it just says, "Ethan, come outside." He didn't move, didn't respond, didn't say anything. He just sat there and waited. Eventually, the footsteps started again and slowly moved away. He didn't sleep at all that night. Next morning, he gets out of the tent, and there are footprints all around it. But he said they didn't look right. They were too long, and the space in between them was off. Like whatever made them didn't walk like a normal person. He packed up and left immediately. And yeah, he hasn't gone back to that area since. This one's from a couple, Mark and Lisa. They were driving through a pretty remote part of Appalachia during winter. Late evening, barely any light left, and their car just dies on them. No signal, no other cars passing by, nothing. So now they're stuck. It's freezing. So they can't just sit in the car all night. They decide to walk and try to find anything, a house, a road, something. After a while, they see a cabin through the trees. And honestly, that part sounds lucky at first. They go up to it, and the door's slightly open. Inside, there's a fire already going, which is weird, but also kind of a relief. They call out, no answer. but everything inside looks like someone lives there. There's food on the table, plates out, even a chair that was still moving a little, like someone had just gotten up. Lisa immediately feels like something's wrong. She keeps saying they shouldn't stay there. But Mark's thinking logically. It's freezing. They need shelter. They'll leave in the morning. So they stay. A few hours pass. Nothing really happens until they hear knocking. 3 slow knocks on the door. They both just freeze. Then a voice from outside says, "Let me in, you're in my house." That's when things stop making sense, because they were already inside and no one was there when they arrived. The voice comes again, a little different this time. "You weren't supposed to find this place." And right after that, the temperature inside drops fast, like instantly cold. The fire goes out completely. Now it's just dark. Lisa starts panicking, and then they hear something moving inside the cabin. Not outside. Inside. Mark turns on his flashlight, points it toward the corner of the room, and he says he saw something standing there. Tall, way too tall, and the face didn't have anything on it. No eyes, no mouth, nothing, just blank. And then everything kind of goes black for them. They wake up the next morning outside in the snow. No cabin, no footprints, nothing, just trees. They even tried to go back later, using maps and everything, but they never found that cabin again. This last one is from a guy named Jake, who rented a small cabin deep in the Appalachian Mountains for a few days. Before he got there, the owner casually told him something weird. "If you hear anything outside at night, don't look out the window." Jake didn't think much of it. The first night felt normal, quiet, nothing unusual, but at exactly 2:13 a.m., he suddenly woke up for no reason, just wide awake, staring at the ceiling, and that's when he heard it, a soft tapping on the window, slow and steady, like something was doing it on purpose. At first he tried to ignore it, thinking it might be a branch or something, but it didn't stop, it just kept going, getting slightly louder, more deliberate, and that's when he remembered the warning. So he turned his head away and just stared at the wall, trying not to look. But the tapping suddenly stopped, and for a few seconds there was complete silence, which somehow felt even worse. And then he heard something else, like fingers dragging slowly across the glass. That's when he couldn't take it anymore and turned toward the window. The curtain was slightly open, and there was something standing right outside, completely still, already looking at him, like it had been waiting for that exact moment. It was tall, unnaturally thin, its arms too long, its head tilted in a way that didn't look right, and its eyes were locked onto his. He said the worst part wasn't how it looked. It was the feeling that it already knew him. The thing slowly raised its hand and pressed it against the glass, its fingers long and wrong, and then it smiled, not normally, just stretched like it didn't understand how faces work. And even though it was outside, Jake heard it whisper right next to his ear, "You weren't supposed to look." Right after that, it slammed into the window. The glass shattered, and Jake fell back in shock, but when he looked again, it was gone. No sound, no movement, nothing. He stayed awake the entire night, and as soon as morning came, he started packing to leave, but before he did, he noticed something scratched into the wall beside the window. Deep marks that weren't there before. It said, "Now I don't need the window." Jake left immediately and never went back, but he later said something that didn't sit right. Ever since that night, he doesn't wake up randomly anymore, because now something else wakes him up first.